Hello, everyone. How you doing? I trust all is well. I'm over here in Maui, and we're dealing with a possible tropical storm that's supposed to be hitting us any moment now. So hopefully the power doesn't go out. So I'm going to do some administrative stuff here. Trust all is well. Give me about 30 seconds. Okay, looks like we're all good. I'm still waiting for my guest, Debera Jensen, to join us. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm sure she'll be joining us in a few moments. But obviously our topic today is trauma. If you have not watched my two prior segments, the first earlier this month, the first one was dealing with self-love. Self-love will keep you honest. So if you really, really want to deal with trauma, you definitely have to have some level of self-love. So go back to that segment and then take it from there. And the second one is dealing with the one word. And you'll have to watch that segment because I'm not going to go into the details right now, but it'll support you to get to that one word as far as dealing with trauma. So I have a question for you. Are you dealing with trauma and hoping that your life will go back the way it was? Or will you take it as a wake-up call to take you on another path in your life? You get to decide. If you're looking for a new way to take care of your emotional, mental, and physical health, it's no accident that you're watching this segment. Because I will tell you this, unresolved trauma will cause limiting beliefs, and they're all caused by trauma. Looks like my guest has finally joined me here. Hold on for a second. Let me see.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Debera.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Thought we lost you. How you
It's
doing?
good to see you.
Good to see you too. So I'm already talking to my audience for a few minutes here. So let me tell you something about Debera. So when I had my beachfront home holistic center in Baja, I met her in Baja, California, and she shared a lot of wisdom with a group of us actually, and and back then I knew that. Back then she told us that she dealt with trauma and brain injuries. And so when I went through my scenario a few months ago, I reached out to her, or I don't know if she reached out to me, I don't remember exactly. But she has gotten me to the other side. She has supported me to deal with my head injury or my TBI, traumatic brain injury, and dealt with trauma. With her and other healers that I've worked with, I realized that there were some core issues that I had not dealt with. And Debera has also supported me to resolve or evolve from those issues. But really quick here, for over 30 years, Debera Jensen has been a health, trauma, mastery, and wellness coach, specializing in retraining trauma and head injuries. That's who Debera is. And Debera, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, awesome.
Very well.
What's going on in your world?
Well, there's a storm coming up, so I hope it doesn't interfere with anything. But I don't think it will. Sometimes it plays around with the internet, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. So we should be fine.
Yeah, we're dealing with the same thing in Maui also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hurricane, but now it's downgraded to a tropical storm, and it's supposed to be hitting us any moment. We got a lot of clouds over us, but no rain yet. So hopefully, I'm sure we'll make it through.
Good.
So so really quickly, Deborah, tell us your background. How did you get to this point? And obviously, I'm having you on here. So I'm having all the master healers that are supporting me through my journey here the last several weeks. And obviously, like I told my audience, you're one of them.
Yeah.
How did you get to this point?
Gosh, when I was 28 years old, I was in a very serious car accident, and from which I sustained a very severe head injury. To this day, I'm not sure they've ever seen anyone that has had that severe a head injury, plus lots of spinal injuries, and I was in constant pain. The doctors basically told me that it was the worst pain and the worst head injury they'd ever seen. And at 28 years old, I went to some really good doctors, the best I could find at the time, and they said, your life is over as you have known it.
Wow.
So that was tough.
Yeah, and I understand that feeling because when I got out of a surgery, they told me it was going to take 1 to 2 years to fully recover, and I said, "Are you kidding me? That's a long time."
Right.
And because of you and others, and obviously my global community, within 8 weeks I was almost 100%, and so I understand that miracles do happen.
They do.
And obviously, so you're one of them. I'm one of them. And so anyway, okay. Question to you: what is trauma?
Oh gosh, trauma comes in many forms, and most of those forms we actually don't recognize. You think that it has to come from viewing something horrendous or a bad accident that you might be a part of, or something else really horrible that makes you feel like you can't deal with things. It's overwhelming. But I want to tell you that that's not always so. That's not always, that's some trauma, but a lot of trauma happens when something simple is said or done, or a simple circumstance. But it can be something, again, that you wouldn't recognize normally, but it is insidious because if you are in a state of being very vulnerable for one reason or another, then that thing really can bother not only in the present, but it becomes a pattern and it repeats into the future. It becomes a belief, which is a negative belief, which carries with it so much damage into our emotional well-being, social well-being, physical well-being, spiritual. It can cover the gamut. And if we don't know, if we're not aware that we have had a trauma, then again, it goes deep into the subconscious mind where it lodges, and the subconscious mind actually controls 70% or more of our behaviors. So if we don't know what's in there, it's really can be very damaging, right? And those behaviors could be something like, suddenly we get anxious or depressed or just angry, or we're angrier than we should be in a certain situation, that it just doesn't make sense. Oftentimes that is coming from trauma that's lodged in the subconscious. We don't know what it is. We just know that our lives are not quite what we hoped they would be. And until we can get the trauma out and do a few other things like, change some of the associated negative beliefs which are attached, and which is, by the way, very easy to do these days with the tools that we have available. But when we can change those negative beliefs into positives, well, guess what? our futures become so much brighter, so much easier, so
So
much more.
I get what you're saying. So I want to address the trauma from my point of view. So
Sure.
and thank you for sharing. So from
Yeah.
my point of view, trauma could be either emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, even financial, cultural, collective. You know, whatever is going on with the collective. That's from my perspective. That's what trauma is, and I dealt with like several of those simultaneously just a few months ago,
Okay.
and it was horrendous to say the least. You know, very painful. But I'm
Yes.
glad. But I'm glad I went through it because it brought forth the medicine, not only for me to evolve, but now to share the wisdom with others. And going back to you, uh, what can a okay? What I have realized as I talk to other people about trauma, most people don't even know they're dealing with trauma. Trauma that happened to them years
True.
ago. You
Yeah.
know, they don't even remember. And then on my last segment, you know, I got everybody to go back to the one word, and then trace back in time to when that original scenario happened. And a lot of people came back to me and said that if it wasn't for that process, they didn't even know they had trauma. I'm
Mhm.
going to believe that most people don't even know they're living on trauma-based decisions, trauma-based perspectives, trauma-based beliefs. And so, what do you tell a person that's not fully awake yet, that doesn't even realize they have trauma?
Well, basically, what I just said here, I'm always doing my best to educate people that, again, there are so many different types of trauma. And I'll give you an example. There's a lady that came to me. She had what people would label a social anxiety. And I was talking to her. She didn't have any idea what had caused it. And we were just talking one day, and I realized that her responses to me were very late.
They were
Like there
very
was a lot
late.
of, yeah, there was a lot of space in
Okay.
between my questions and her answers. And I finally said, well, you know, trying to be tactful, right? Are you thinking of something in between the time I'm asking a question and the time you're answering? And she said, well, yes. And I said, do you mind if I ask what you're thinking? And she said, I'm trying to be interesting.
What?
And what had happened to her when we finally figured it out? And by the way, I'm highly, highly intuitive. I know you know that. But some people come to me just for that reason alone. So I just kind of picked up something. But in her childhood, this is an example of something that seems so simple, but ends up being so profound. Something like this can happen that her parents, I don't think that was good English, sorry about that. But anyway, her parents had taken her on a long road trip. And what we think happened was they weren't accustomed to entertaining a small child. So they didn't really know what to do. They didn't have enough toys, they didn't have enough anything. So instead of, entertaining her and doing what you would think you would normally do, they just didn't talk to her a lot. And in her little mind, she decided that as a little child, I'm not even sure how old, that she must not be interesting or they would be talking to her. Isn't that something?
Wow, that's awesome. So,
Yeah,
so
so she came to that belief that she wasn't interesting, and that belief pervaded her entire life. So she didn't have good social connections. It affected every part of her life until we figured it out. And then I changed a belief for her that instead of not being interesting, she was now very interesting, right? Because she actually was, she just didn't know it. And guess what? Then she was already in business, but she wasn't doing too well. After we did that work, she did 2 webinars, like just like that practically. And it was easy for her. And all of her social, her friends, her family members, they all, they were so much closer. It was so much easier for her to speak. In fact, it was easy. And she was enjoying her life so much more. So it can be that simple a thing that can ruin a person's life. But when you find out what it is, when you can trace it back in time and change it, then it has the power of changing almost everything.
And thank you for sharing that, Deborah. So going back to my original question, my question is, how does a person know that if they're not aware that they're living through trauma, how do they wake up without coming to you first? Because obviously, if they're aware of trauma, they'll come to see you. How does a person become aware that they're living through a perception of trauma, or base their beliefs on trauma, or their decisions on trauma? How do they wake up and say, hey, you know what, I do have trauma? I've lived all these years and I never knew it, and all of a sudden, how does a person become aware that they're living through trauma, from your perspective?
Well, it's a good question, because a lot of people they haven't come to that yet.
That's my question. So how does a person wake up to that without coming
Well,
to you?
this is one way. This
Okay.
is the hard way. This is the hard way. Um, the body always and soul always want to come to wholeness. And in my thoughts, they are always the body, the soul, the universe are always trying to bring us to wholeness, as I said. And what happens is you are creating circumstances that wake you up to
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you need to do some work.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't mean that to sound awful or anything, but if you don't recognize it yourself, your body knows. Your body has this amazing wisdom inside, and it will sometimes create circumstances to wake you up. I would
That's
say,
truth.
yeah, I would say if if you don't want that to happen, then then just be aware that if your life isn't happening easily or freely, or it doesn't seem like, things are going well, oftentimes there is trauma. So what I've seen is when you remove the trauma, then life becomes a whole lot easier.
Everything you said right before this last part is actually absolutely truth, and thank you for sharing that. For my audience, if you've done my last segment and come to the one word, please put it in the comments, because Deborah's going to walk you through a process, or whatever it takes to move on from the trauma. For those of you who have not watched the last segment, put in the comments section whatever trauma it is that you want to deal with right now. And if none of you put anything in the comments section, then I'm going to come up with something. And I've got 2 of them off the top of my head that most of everybody's dealing with. So please put in the comments section either the one word you came up with in the last segment, or if you have not watched that segment, then put in the comments section what trauma you would like to deal with right now. What once you deal with trauma, Deborah, is it like peeling the onion and then another trauma pops up, or once you resolve the trauma, you're completely good?
Well, that's a really good question, and I would say once we've gotten through the trauma it's gone. But I have to sort of preface that with saying that your body protects you from trauma, and most people have heard of the word shock. Your body does other things to be able to live through the trauma once, or traumas if it's plural. Usually it's plural. And so once we remove one trauma, that trauma is gone, but something else might be able to emerge, and that's a good thing, because your body, kept it at bay for a while so that you could survive the situation. Now, when
Okay.
you're ready and you have the tools to deal with it, then your body serves it up and says, "Whew, okay, good job. Let's go for it."
So we got a comment from Carlton. Aloha, Carlton. And she's a good friend of mine. Carlton is dealing with the loss of a child. And I don't want to get into details, but she just recently lost a child.
Mm-hmm.
How would you deal with that trauma?
Okay. Well, first of all, I would do more than what I can do today.
Correct.
But we can start on it. Okay.
And this goes for everybody in the audience, whether you're watching this live or in the recording. You can utilize what Debera's about to show you for any kind of trauma.
Yeah. So what I would normally ask a person is to, and I think I already know the answer. And by the way, I'm really sending lots of love around Carlton. I can really feel that. Yeah, lots of love. And on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst feelings around this, and 0 being just no negative emotions at all, where do you think that would be? And this is for everybody. I don't know if are you getting numbers, Alfredo? Are they sending you numbers?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll just sort of leave it out there. Go ahead and in your mind's eye, give it a number. I'm sure some of these are going to be probably 10 at the highest number. And then I'm going to just have you relax as much as you can and know that we'll get through as much as we can. Probably can't get through all of it today. Okay. Especially something like this. And by the way, just saying, when we have a little more time, there are a lot more tools that are much deeper and faster. So, okay.
So this is a start.
Yeah, but let's do it. Let's make a start. Okay. So, and Alfredo, do you
Yes.
have something that you can think of? You don't have to say it out loud, but can I just use you as sort of a surrogate for everybody?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a number for something?
10.
10. Okay. All right. So all of these feelings are in your body somewhere. Think about the situation that's upsetting you. And I think I'll invite you, all of you, to close your eyes for a little bit so you can really get into this. Think about this situation that's upsetting you. And notice where you feel, where your body's feeling this at its strongest. It could be your chest or your throat or your stomach. Could be somewhere else. Now, instead of distracting yourself from the feeling or trying to mentally solve the problem, just be present to the physical sensation of that feeling in your body. Take a couple nice big deep breaths. This feeling is here. It's a fact. It won't be here forever. though it might feel that way in the moment. For now, as long as it's here, just accept it and send it love. Send it love. Take another couple of nice big deep breaths. So inside this feeling in your body, there's an area of greatest intensity. Put your attention on that place in an unconditionally loving and accepting way. And Alfredo, where do you feel that in your body?
Heart.
Okay, all right. So just be with that. And can you kind of just point to the area of greatest intensity? Okay, all right. Thank you. Now take another couple of nice big deep breaths. You can close your eyes again. As you give that feeling attention, it may shift in some way. It might get more intense or less intense. It might move to different parts of your body. Stay with it and let it run its course.
For me, my eyes want to cry.
Oh, okay. So is that where you're feeling it right now, Alfredo?
My heart and my eyes.
Okay. And which part is the greatest? Where's it most intense?
I would say they're both equal. My heart is hurting and breaking, and my eyes just want to cry.
Okay. So intuitively, I'm going to go with your heart area first. Okay. And thanks for doing this, Alfredo.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So will you stay with that feeling in your heart area? Let it live and breathe and grow. And I don't know, do you have, well, I was going to ask a question. Do you have any pets, any animals that you love?
I currently don't, but I did.
Okay. You could use that, but suddenly I remembered you have a new grandchild.
Yes, I do.
And you have so much love for that grandchild, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to use those loving feelings. Okay. So will you think into that area in your heart again? And in your heart area, and would you just surround it with, oh my God, all that love that you feel for your grandchild? Just use that same kind of love, because you know the magnitude of that love and how, yeah, I can see it all over your face. Yeah. Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, so just really surround that part of you with that kind of love.
So I don't want to speak on behalf of Carlton, but what if she's trying to bring in that love, but it's difficult for her because she's just lost a child.
Yeah,
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, we would use something else. She could use thanks for the question. She could use maybe a pet that she has great love for, or we would do a totally different process, just
Okay.
just so you know, to to help her through without having to link in that way. Okay. So
Um,
anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say something, but I don't want to speak on her behalf. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. So keep filling into that part of you. And again, let it live and breathe and grow. Keep feeling all that love that you send in, and you still have all that love because I know you have that wonderful grandchild. And these feelings sometimes move around. So if that's so, if that wants to move somewhere else, just keep your attention on the most intense part and just in a very unconditionally loving way. And eventually you'll come to some peace. Now, how are you doing? Do you feel like that number has come down at all?
Yeah, it's come down to a 7. And Carlton, this is directed at you. Just know that I surrounded your loss and you with a bunch of love.
Nice. That's nice.
So yeah, for me, it's come down to a 7. I'm not going to speak in behalf of Carlton, but
Yeah.
it's come down to a 7.
Good. I'm going to send Carlton a lot of love too. A lot of compassion, a lot of caring. Okay.
For the audience, if you have the one word that you came up with in the last segment, or if you have to watch that segment and you want to go through a trauma, something that's trauma based right now, put it in the comments section and let's deal with it now, just like we did with Carlton's loss of a child. Thank you,
Okay.
Carlton. Thank you, Carlton, for volunteering. I greatly appreciate you.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So now do we have time to go a little bit further with this?
Sure, sure.
Okay. So you're down to about a 7. Okay. And whatever it was you were thinking of, when you feel that emotion in your body, where is it now? Is it in your eyes now? Did it move somewhere? Where is it?
Well, so I had my hand placed on my heart through that whole process, so it became more intensified there.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've moved my hand away from there, uh, you know what, Carlton, put in the comment section. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what you put here. Mahalo.
Uh-huh.
Carlton, put in the comment section where you're feeling it now. Now, I don't want to speak on your behalf anymore. So I started out with my heart and I went to my eyes. Where are you feeling it now? And I'm not even sure if it went down to a 7 from a 10. So
So good for you. That's good.
I
Have we
guess
got
Carlton,
any?
no, I guess Carlton doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, all right. So I'll be the surrogate.
Okay, so where do you feel that emotion right now?
Secondary would be my eyes. I just want to cry.
Okay, all right. So would you stay with that feeling again? You're and I will invite you to close your eyes again so you can really go
Hold on,
inward.
hold on, hold on. Oh, okay. She said she loves in my eyes.
I don't know what that means. Do you?
Yeah, she's agreeing with me that the next part is her eyes or our eyes.
Oh, oh, cool, cool. Okay, so hopefully we can do both of you at once. So, okay, would you feel into that area?
Okay.
And stay with that feeling. Again, instead of distracting yourself from that feeling or trying to mentally figure things out, just be present. Just be present to that feeling in your body. And take a couple of nice big deep breaths. Stay with that feeling. Let it live and breathe and grow. Let it move around if it needs to. Keep your attention on the most intense part in a very unconditionally loving way. Take another couple of nice, really big, deep breaths. Okay. And then if you'll just tell me, where do you think the number is right now? And is the intensity still in your eyes or somewhere else?
I would say 5+, maybe a 6, and now it's gone to my throat.
Your throat. Okay. All right. So you're doing really well, really, really well. And I'm hoping Carlton is doing as well. Okay.
Well, she just made a comment of
Okay.
yes.
She's doing well?
You know, I don't know what the comment, I don't know what the question is referring to, but I mean the answer is referring to, but she just said yes.
Good, good. That sounds positive. Yay. Okay. All right. So you're down to about a 5.5, and now it's in your throat. Okay.
Correct.
So would you feel into that area? And just be with that. Stay with that feeling. And what I'm getting is that area kind of just a part of you really needs attention. So it's kind of like, we all like attention, right? We all like it if someone says, wow, thank you. They acknowledge us, right?
Right. Are you talking to me or are you talking to Carlton?
Well, I might be talking to both of you.
Okay, she just put a comment that says I'm doing well.
Yay, Carlton. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yeah. So again, what I would like you to do is I'm going to invite you again to close your eyes, and we're going to act as though that part of you really would like to be heard, would like to be seen. For some reason, it hasn't felt like it got acknowledgement for something. So now you're going to invite that part of you. In fact, I'll invite that part of you up on the stage. So now we're at the Academy Awards. And that part of you has just taken the stage, and you know how people carry in the awards, and that part of you has just gotten this great award, and the audience has broken out in wild applause, and that part of you is really feeling that. It's just really feeling that acknowledgement. And the spotlight is totally shining right on you, right on that part of you as you're receiving that acknowledgement. And you're noticing that the applause is getting even louder and louder and louder. And you're just like feeling, just soaking it in, like, oh, wow. This is so nice. I worked really hard, and this is just so nice to receive this. Okay. Now, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes again. That part of you has accepted your award. Well deserved, by the way. And now tell me where that feeling is. Is it still in your throat or is it somewhere else? And before you kind of say if it's there or someone else or somewhere else, can you please tell me what number you're at?
So coming from my throat, I'm down to a 3 because I was able to tell that child, I love you.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Good. So you're down to a 3. Are you still feeling that in your throat or has it moved somewhere else?
I'm still feeling it in my throat, but it's dissipating.
Okay. All right. Um, I think you're pretty intuitive. Does it feel like it's, you know, how sometimes we give a number, but it's actually moving down to another number? Do you have any idea about if it's moving down?
Yeah, I think it's moving down because I'm not. It's dissipating from my throat, and I'm not feeling it going anywhere else. I don't want to speak in behalf of Carlton here, but
Okay.
um, I, I I feel pretty good right now.
Good. I think what I'm getting intuitively is there's like we're at a 1.
Okay, and that would not surprise me. I you know, you
Yeah.
and I have done this many times, and I get it, so I
We've
understand.
done some things, haven't we? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you know what? And again, Carlton, forgive me. I'm not. I'm just a surrogate here for you, but I'm okay to go to a 1. Um, I yeah.
Does she want to go further?
I'm not sure. Last thing she said is I'm doing well.
Nice. I'm just so happy. Yeah. Okay. Good. So, if you want me to go further, I will. It won't take long, I don't think.
Okay, let's do it. Let's help Carlton out here. And
Okay.
again, so for the let me talk to the audience real quick. So obviously we're going to run out of time here, but go back to this process, audience, and utilize it for yourself, whatever trauma you're going through or been through, or if you don't know if you're in the trauma, do this process because it works miraculously. Okay, go ahead, Deborah.
Okay. How much more time do we have? Do you know?
We got a few more minutes.
Okay. All right. So, if it has gone somewhere else right now, would you tell me where that is?
Hold on for a second. Let me see what
Okay.
she said. I can go to a 1. Oh, she said she can go to a 1.
Wow. Oh,
So your intuition was correct.
fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. Well, that's nice validation. Okay.
Yeah, I
All
was
right.
at 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Um, so, what else is something that you just really love?
Me.
Yeah. Oh, you. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, would you um, find wherever that place is right now, where it's ever it's moved to, and just really feel into the love that you have for yourself. And in this case, use that love and surround this place with that great love that you have for yourself. Stay with that feeling. Just allow it to live and breathe. And eventually you'll be left with a neutral feeling. Take a couple of nice big deep breaths. And when you're ready, Does it feel like that's down to maybe a 0?
It is a 0.
Fabulous. Good. So when you think of that original thing that you thought of as we were starting out, does it feel neutral right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And I hope Carlton is at a 0 also. I don't know. But even getting down that far can really change her life. Okay. Um, may I say something? Because we're working with all kinds of people, and I don't know who all we're working with, but there are lots of processes, and some work really well for one in one area and some in another area. Some are faster, some are slower, but some are effective and some are not as effective. So you don't want to use those. But I just want all of your listeners to know that these processes that we have these days are so entirely powerful. I've never seen anything like it. I started about umpty years ago, 30 years ago, right? And we couldn't do anything like we can now do. So the tragedy is if people don't know that they can't change these things relatively quickly. Okay. And anyway, I just wanted to tell people because there's a process for almost anything that could possibly come up. And
And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, there's many traumas. You know, it could be physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, you know,
right.
collective, ancestral. I mean, financial. There's all kinds of traumas, and so now I'm going to give you a testimonial, Deborah. Deborah's phenomenal at dealing with trauma.
Thank you.
And she has helped me a lot. I mean, I don't even know how to put it into words. She is one of the people that has supported me to evolve from the several traumas that I went through just a couple of months ago. So I'm honored to have you, Deborah, on this segment. I greatly appreciate you, Deborah. Thank you for helping everybody that's listening to this.
Yes. May I insert something?
Go.
Do you want me to tell them that I'm going to give a few free sessions?
Sure.
Okay, if they go to yourfocusedsuccess.com, and I'll try to put that into the notes.
Yeah, put it in the comment section,
Or
and
comment.
that way people will can refer to it.
And thank you. It's a joy to be with you again.
You're welcome. Do you have any final thoughts, questions? I mean, do you have any final thoughts or comments for our audience?
I just think they're wonderful for being here. You know, it takes some courage. Oh.
So can you read that? Love and gratitude to you both to realize I can initiate again and again the love for myself as I feel the sacredness. Oh, the sadness. Retrain my brain to say this to myself.
Oh, nice.
I'm wearing glasses and I still can't read it.
Well, but that brought up something for me. So you wanted me to say something. Thank you to Carlton. I now have something more to say, which is once these traumas are gone, you don't have to keep repeating mantras because it's gone.
Agreed. I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, Deborah. Remember, put the comment section, everything you just offered my audience. I greatly appreciate you, Deborah. You know I love you. I
love you too.
Who you are and what you are. Immense gratitude for being you.
I love you too. Thank you.
All right. Have a great evening. Audience, I love you all. You guys rock. Thank you for listening. Tell the world. I'm here to support the world to move forward and ascend and evolve and heal. Tell the world about the experience. Mahalo Keakua.
Thank you.